similar.
Right.
They all have to be the same. Thank you very much.
Do what you drinking,
Water.
Okay.
5, 4.
Seth and Nirva, we are so glad that you're here with us on More Than a Song, and I have a question for you. Some of us, we don't know a lot about who you are. Can you just share a little bit about you and how you came together and just a little bit about your ministry?
For sure. Why don't you?
Who goes first?
Right. So I'll tell. You know, we met actually doing background singing on the road many years ago. Our first time meeting was at a Billy Graham crusade in San Diego.
You must have been 10 or 11.
Oh. Right. We were actually. We were. It was crazy, you know.
where we're from.
Exactly. But we were just, you know, backstage, met each other. She doesn't remember meeting me for the first couple times, but I always say I made a big impression. It's been really memorable.
But the time that she does remember must have been totally life-changing, right?
Well, I wish it was in the long term.
Okay.
But a friend hired us actually to sing background. At the time, I was singing for a guy named Kurt Franklin.
Oh, yes.
And she was with Toby Mac. And so that's why we were at the Billy Graham thing doing music for it. And, but a mutual friend hired us to sing background for him, and that's when we became good friends. And, you know, unfortunately for me, too good of friends, because I wanted more than friendship, and she did not.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness. Oh, Nirva, I hear a movie in the making here.
That's right.
You know, that is, you know, but we were really good friends, like really special friends. And I was at a season in life where I was just pausing on relationships. And so when he came into my life, he assumed a really awesome friendship position that I really needed, and God saw that in the beginning that's just where I needed to be. But then afterwards God opened my eyes and I was like, yikes, he is handsome, yikes, he's awesome, what do I do? But I had some awesome friends and community in my life, and they just were there for me, and so God opened my eyes to see he was the one.
So then how many years have y'all been married? Are you newlyweds or?
We just celebrated 11 years.
11 years. Goodness gracious. Yeah. And so how long have y'all been together and singing as a couple?
Well, we would, like he said, people would hire us to do background sessions together, and that's when we first realized, okay, we kind of enjoy singing together, we have a good blend. And I think about 6 years ago, we moved to Florida, and we were just doing young adult ministry there, but we decided to put out an EP. And the short stories had gotten to the hands of someone that works at Integrity Music. And 2 years ago, they met with us and wanted to meet with us, share their hearts and hear our hearts. And we became worship artists. They signed us as a duo, husband and wife worship team. So we're stoked about that. Yes.
Yes? How come?
Oh, that's my bad.
We were doing really good.
Is my nose running?
No.
It does that.
Was it a tech? What happened?
Too soft.
Tech problem. See?
No, we can do it. That's great. Can we start over from the
Yeah, we're going to start all over.
Hallelujah. That'd be better. I'll be more relaxed this time.
You looked relaxed.
You do more of the talking.
No, maybe you do it.
No, it's fine.
No, it's good to mix it up.
I'm going to do it.
You stop being so shy, love.
Okay, I'll relax. I feel at home. You're real kind.
I need to adjust your seat just a little bit.
Okay.
You're turning a little too hard.
Okay.
How about his hat? Can you see his eyes? Shadow?
Okay, your hat's good.
Looks good. You look handsome.
You're quite a handsome and beautiful couple.
Oh, you're kind.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Scott Nirva of the Scott Nirva group, right? That's the name of your band, your ministry, right?
Close.
Very close. Okay, sort of. Well, we are so glad you're here.
You call him Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were playing. It's totally fine. I was like, good job, babe. It's great.
That's pretty close.
No wonder you were like pretty close.
Close.
Right?
She played it off well. It was great. I love this stuff. This is great.
A blooper.
It takes a village.
I don't even know a Scott, and sorry.
That's great.
I'll have more fun. I'll say I'll let you up.
I know. Okay.
Uh-oh, now you got lipstick on your chin. You probably can just do like that.
Like that?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Am I gone? Okay. All right. Seth. It's right in here. Okay. Seth and Nirva.
Seth. Here we go. For real this time.
I know, for real. Not my bad. Seth and Nirva, a Seth and Nirva group, band, ministry. We are so glad you're here at Cornerstone. And you know, our family, we always want to find out a little bit about who you are. So if you can just start us out by just saying who you are and where you're from and how you got together, that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm Seth, and this is Nirva. And we actually, so we're married.
Okay.
We met, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago, traveling on the road. I was traveling with a gentleman named Kirk Franklin.
Yes, I've heard of Kirk Franklin.
Yep. And
yes.
She was with a guy named Toby Mac.
Of course, Toby Mac.
We
yes.
actually met the first time backstage at a Billy Graham crusade when we were singing at it in San Diego. And,
okay.
You know, unfortunately, she doesn't remember meeting me there, but it is true we actually did meet.
True story.
So how many times did it take before you remembered?
Oh my, at
Three
least
or four.
4 times. This is terrible. I'm looking really bad here.
I remembered though. I remembered.
Oh, so obviously you started as children then. So
Yep.
you've sang all your lives, right?
That's right.
You right?
That's right. That's right.
How did
You're
you?
kind.
Well, it's true. You're so young. Now tell me about. Did you always enjoy singing? Was it something you knew that God gave you as a gift, or was it something that happened as you got older?
You know what, for me it started out as a hobby, something I just enjoyed singing along to the radio, to the pop tunes on my little radio in my room growing up. But then it became a passion and a love around college. I think college age is when it became a passion for me.
Yeah.
How about you, Love?
You know, I grew up in church singing. My family is a singing family. She knows this even to this day. We get in the car and automatically we're singing four-part harmony hymns, old hymns and stuff. So
awesome.
I loved it, but I was painfully shy growing up. So like I would sing in my room for hours and I loved it, but like to get me to sing in front of people, the first solo I sang, like the audience was here and I stood this way the entire song and never moved. And then I walked off the stage, never looked at anybody. So I used to dread singing in front of people, but it was around college time for me too when I began to just, because I loved it so much, I was like, I got to break the fear of this and just do it and do it and do it. So still get a little nervous sometimes, you know, depending on the crowd.
To be nervous, right?
But it's a lot better now. It's a lot better.
So it obvious, because of your passion, it's a God gift. Wouldn't you say that was a gift that God gave you all to have?
For sure.
What do you think, because you sang with so long for different backups and so forth, what prompted you to go forward on your own?
You know, that too was kind of a God-given gift. We had actually taken a step away from music, and we moved from Nashville, Music City, to Florida just to start a new chapter of life.
Yeah, to work at a college, actually. She called Toby to quit. And
yes.
And I'm so grateful. He said, well, we're willing to fly you from Florida if you want to stay in the band. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were doing some college ministry and then doing some young adult ministry at our home church. In the middle of that, Integrity Music contacted us because we had released an EP of just a few songs on iTunes, and it got into the hands of someone that works there. And long story short, 2 years ago, we signed as a worship duo, husband and wife. Worship duo with Integrity Music. Thank you.
Well, let me back up a little bit in case somebody doesn't know what an EP is.
Okay.
And they're singing it as a CD. Can you just share what an EP is, please?
Yeah, just a shortened version of an album, like anywhere from, I don't know, 5 to 8 songs. So we had these songs we had written like over the years, and we were like, let's just put them out, put them up on iTunes, and just for fun and see what happens. And from there, it kind of just, you know, you take that one step and it leads to the next.
Yes, that's right. Now, you said you wrote. So do y'all write your own music?
We do. We co-write.
We'll come up with song ideas, and we'll take it to really skilled writers that can help capture the vision of the idea of the song.
But in working with them, we're learning too, like just, you know, how to get better as a writer.
When you write music, comes out of a personal experience, or is it like God downloading an idea? How does that whole process work?
You know, it works in different ways for us. Sometimes I'll just be humming and then an idea for a melody, or sometimes we're just free flow in worship and a song will come there. And a couple of times I've had melodies in my dreams, and I wake up.
She always does this.
And I record it, you know, on my phone so I don't forget. But
she's had that like 10 or 15 times. Actually, the title song of our album, Never Alone, the song from that was one of her dreams. She had this dream about singing. And then we kind of like took that, and that became the chorus of it. And so you never know, you know, where it comes from. And a lot of the themes actually for the album that we did came out of our work with young adults. And so it was just, you know, what we one of the things, we met Jenny Riddle, who wrote Revelation Song.
Okay.
When we first started writing, she was one of our first co-writes, and she said, what do you feel like God wants to tell the body right now? And I thought that was a really deep question to ask as we were starting that process. And so when we were working with the young adults, I was like, man, I felt like one of the things God wanted to communicate to these young adults who were feeling increasingly marginalized by an increasingly post-Christian culture was not to fear, not to back down to that cultural pressure to kind of privatize your faith, but to be able to stand strong, even in the midst of that culture, like a Daniel, you know, with courage and compassion, and say, you know what, God is still moving, he's still present with us, and we can move forward. So that was that kind of, the theme of the album became, man, let's be courageous in this time, let's be wise, loving, but stand firm on biblical principles that God has given us to live our lives upon.
That's awesome. And it sounds like your music is a call of worship, but it's also a call to take a stand.
Yeah, and honestly, like Nirva said, when we moved to Florida, we thought we were leaving music behind, and did. I didn't sing in the young adult ministry. We just taught and counseled and stuff like that. So I thought that assignment, that phase was done. But then when God began to open it back up, one of the things that was impressed on us was that, you know, kind of the title of this show, More Than a Song, it was going to actually be a ministry, not mere artistry. Artistry would be there, but it would be subject to ministry, and so it's going to be more than artistry in that sense. And the music was going to be a medium through which we would kind of do what we were doing, that young adult ministry, to just a larger crowd of people. So we've kind of taken that way of saying, man, how do these songs, how can we help people grow through these and walk in their discipleship with Christ, and encourage and inspire and serve as a tool for connecting with God. So it's kind of all those things in essence.
It sounds like that's the new season for y'all, taking your music and then branching towards new ministry, not really even a new ministry, but an expanded ministry with young adults. Is that accurate?
Yeah. And you know, and we don't want to limit it to that, because I mean, one of the things we love, we've gotten to speak on, you know, one of the songs called Brother, it's kind of taken off and really met this race issue that has become a big thing in our culture right now. And so we talk about unity in the body a lot, but we also talk about unity intergenerationally, because one of the things I feel like we've lost, even as we did young adult ministry, I started asking people that were in their 40s, 50s, even 60s and 70s, they're like, man, these kids, they need y'all to come in here. We can't to be this silo that's doing our own thing. Like, the body, I think, is stronger when we mix in. So even though we might think primarily in the lens of young adults sometimes, I think when we go out and do ministry, it really reaches all generations and different races, because that's part of our ministry, is to unite people that typically wouldn't unite out of Christ. But it's like, man, this is one thing that can bring together a 70-year-old with a 20-year-old, and they can actually be in a real deep relationship and learn from each other.
And in the essence of it all is worship God.
That's it.
I mean, that's really all. Your music edifies not only Jesus, but brings the body together. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony, sharing your ministry and your passion. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us on. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.